Bank of Canada increases interest rate by 0.25%, and you should stay variable regardless. Stay tuned to find out exactly what I mean. Promise you, it'll be worth it. Good day, Toronto. Welcome to another episode of Prime Properties TV. So glad you could join me here today. Last week, right after I released my Tuesday video, I knew that Bank of Canada was going to increase their interest rate. So now I'm going to give you kind of my debrief of why, despite the increased interest rate and all the chatter that comes along with it, why you should still stay variable, right? And there's a whole bunch of articles I'm going to talk about. I'm going to give you some math and give you some charts exactly showing you why I would always recommend variable. But first off, let's look at this headline. Toronto home prices hit average selling of $2 million for a detached in Toronto. So this is kind of the first big article that's going to grab everyone's attention, that a detached home now is $2 million in Toronto. Yes, the numbers came out for the month of February, so I'm going to release the information and the data and kind of my analysis of the market watch on Thursday, so make sure to subscribe to the channel, stay tuned to that. But the reason why I'm opening with this article is to just show you how bonkers the price increase has gone up. And you can see here in this chart that it's just straight up to the right. Now, what you have probably heard from me is that the market is slowing down, and it is. And you'll see a more technical analysis on Thursday when I get more time to kind of analyze the numbers. But what I did here was I kind of gave you the recap of what was happening in the last few months, right? You can see down here on the yellow is basically the month that just came by. You can see we're hitting a $1.33 million average price. That includes your condos, towns, detached, and semis all together, right? And you can see that we've increased 7.38% month over month. Yeah, just let that sink in, 7.38%. Now, granted, I actually thought it would be 8 to 10%, seeing when I looked at the mid-month numbers, but we did start seeing a little bit of a slowdown, and the slowdown is in the 905 areas, right? So that's why when we saw the headline of $2 million home in Toronto for a detached, I think we're going to see more of that price increase because we're getting spring inventory right now as I speak in the first week of March. And spring inventory generally means big boy homes are coming to the market, and if those sell, it's going to drag the prices up, right? And then the last thing I'll touch on, because I did have a chance to look at some of the numbers, is you see over here, while prices have gone up about 7.38%, the months of inventory has also gone up to 1 month, which means that we're getting some relief on the inventory side. And when I say slow down, it just means the activity has slowed down. The number of offers have slowed down. It doesn't mean the market's crashing or anything because people want to hear what they want to hear. It's that we're going from a 12 out of 10 to like an 8 out of 10, which is still a seller's market. We got to get to like a 5 out of 10 before it's a balance and like a 3 out of 10 before it's a buyer's. That's kind of my scale for you right now. Okay. So in the first 2 months, we've seen like 15% increase almost. We should slow down back to the 1 or 2% in the coming months. Now, the big thing that we want to talk about on this episode is that the Bank of Canada did increase their interest rate 0.25%. And the big headlines all coming is, should you go fixed or variable? My answer for you is stay variable. I'm going to give you a reason later why, and I'll look at some charts and some Excel spreadsheets for you I mapped out. Now, the key thing here is that depending on who you talk to, and what economist, what realtor, what dude, what gal, whatever, they're going to give you a different opinion on whether the interest rate is going to affect the market. And my answer short is this: it's not. It's not going to. And this article also says it likely won't affect the real estate market. Now, I think these guys are under the assumption that, people are going to jump in the market and the frenzy is going to continue. But they may not see that the market has already slowly begun to slow down, going from a 12 out of 10 to an 8 out of 10. But the thing you do have to keep in mind is there's all this other stuff that's going on right now with the war and inflation and everything. I think in April, we're going to have an interest rate increase. And I would say like 90, 95%. And then at that point, something's going to give. I think something's going to give because while some people say, and I agree with them, that the war in the East right now is providing kind of shelter and a reason to not increase interest rate. One of the side effects of the war is that gas and wheat prices are going up like crazy, and people complain about inflation when they feel it in their pocket the most. They don't really care unless it's affecting them, right? So when you're filling up at a gas tank? No. So I haven't been there in a while. When you're filling up at a gas station for like 1.71, at least that's the one I saw when I drove by today, and you're going to see like bread prices and rice prices all increase, they're going to feel it and they're going to be like, what the heck? And they're going to associate it with inflation, not the kind of side effect that's causing the wheat and oil to go up in price, because that's what Russia provides a lot of. So I don't think there's enough cover regardless of what's happening in the East in the war, to have an interest rate reduction or not do an increase in April. And that's why I'm predicting 95% chance we'll get April. But anything that comes afterwards, we'll probably find some kind of excuse whether or not they should increase interest rate, right? If this is the type of real estate content you enjoy, make sure you help us spread the knowledge by smashing the like button and subscribing to the Prime PPTO channel, because every week we make awesome content just like this so that we can help you make money in the real estate side, whether it's teaching you how to save some money on a variable versus fixed, or just kind of how to navigate the market and, maximize the top dollar you can get for your house or buying an investment property. We put all this information out there because we'll be honest and transparent about what the heck is going on in this market, because let's be real, there's a lot of crappy stuff out there, so that whenever you think you're ready to buy, sell, invest, you'll be like, Zhen and his team, they know what's going on, and you'll use a book a call with me to kind of strategize your future. And you can do that right here using the link. It's www.chatwithzen.com. Now, the main question I have circled here is kind of talking about whether it's time to fix a switch to fix, right? And let me show you chart number 1 why you should not switch to fix. The first one you can see here is the 5-year discount of a mortgage from variable versus fixed. You can see that generally they kind of follow along, right? You can see in January 12th, they're kind of the same, follow along. There's a little hiccup in the fixed and so on and so forth. But then since the pandemic, there's a big spread, right? And just so you know, the variable mortgage is associated with the overnight rate, which is the Bank of Canada's interest rate. So you'll probably see the interest rate trickle into your mortgage soon, because prime will change. I know RBC has changed it already, but some of the other banks will probably see it sooner rather than later. Now, because the spread between the blue line and the orange line is so big, it's exactly why you should actually go variable. Because this fear of the interest rate going up and making your mortgage more expensive is going to freak you out. But you really need to see the orange line come up to here before you're paying the same amount of monthly mortgage, right? So that's why until it gets to this area up here, I don't think you should be going fixed, right? You have to keep in mind, you can go to the bank, like most mortgages, at any time, or even call them and be like, hey, I would like to go fixed now. They're more than happy to give it to you, right? So you should ride out variable, despite what you may think of how many more interest rates are coming. Again, I still think it's under 3 this year. Now, here's the second one. So you can see here, this is the spread between the 5-year variable and the fixed, right? So you can see on the y-axis here, basically this is measured in bips, basis points, or every 100 basis points is 1%. You can see over here that the spread is basically 1.5, 1.6% right now. So every time the interest rate hike usually happens, you go up 0.25%. So 160 divided by 25 gives you like 6 of them. So for the fixed to be a better choice than the variable, you really need to see 6 interest rate hikes before it happens. And again, I keep thinking there's 3. And remember, let's say there is another 2 and then you freak out. Just call your bank and be like, hi, Mr. Bank, can I go fixed? Before you kind of like go all the way to lock it in right now. Because what happens is once you lock it in, you lose all flexibility, right? Because anytime you want to break the mortgage, refinance, sell the place, you're gonna have to pay the IRD, which is generally 2 to 3% of your remaining balance. Whereas if it's your mortgage that's on variable, you just pay 3 months interest, and $1 million right now, the interest is like $6,000, give or take, probably less, I think. Yeah, so that's why you should always go variable. Now, here's the other chart I'm going to show you why you should go variable. You can see here, ever since the pandemic, when variable has been much lower than fixed, because like this chart I showed you here, the spread is ginormous, right? A lot more people have gone variable. And this idea of, if people's interest rates are going to go up, they're going to default on their home and everything, it's just baloney, because more than half the mortgages, even if they're on variable, the monthly payments do not change. I talked about this before with Brady. You can check out the video up here. Now, the last thing I'll show you in this video is this. I created a spreadsheet here just to kind of show you how nerdy I am, but really to show you what the difference is. The current interest rate, every single 0.25% increase on $100,000 of mortgage is about $12, okay? So in this example, if you have $1 million, right, which is 10 times $100,000, you're at $120 a month. That's how much monthly increase your mortgage changes if your variable actually fluctuates. So generally, if you're with Scotia, it will fluctuate. If you're with TD, BMO, CIBC, and RBC, you don't have a flexible payment. It's the same. It's just your interest rate and your principal stays the same. They change. The actual payment stays the same. So you can see over here that, let's say today we are right here. When we go to a 0.5% increase, which again, I was saying is probably going to happen in April, if you have $1 million mortgage, you'll probably have $250 a month increase. And you should still stay variable because even if we go to 0.5, it's going to increase your monthly payment to $371 a month. This is where I think the number of interest rate hikes will be by the end of the year. And this is what your mortgage should be, assuming the $1 million price point. So it should increase by $370 a month. Is it going to crash the market? No. But if you're trying to save money and kind of see what's the most efficient way to do it, this is the analogy I'm going to show you. So once it gets there, and I just assumed if it goes there right away, you can see I multiply it by 60, which is a general 5-year term because 5 years times 12 months is 60. So that means your carry cost of interest is going to go up about $22,000, right? Now, if you were to go get a fixed right now, you're at like, call it 2.75. It's actually 2.8, 2.9. But that means right off the bat, you're going to be paying an extra $37,000 over the term of your 5 years. Or you're going to be increasing your monthly mortgage payment to by $631 instead of the $371. So you can see here, if I do a little subtraction action here, you can see that by going fixed, you're going to go pay an extra $259 every single month. So at any point, if you see an interest rate go up from here to here and you want to go fixed, just call your bank. But if you kind of want to play the game of chicken the way I have been doing and variable generally wins, you continue until you get uncomfortable. You see what I mean? You can always go fixed, but fixed can't go variable. And that's the important thing. So if you kind of want to have this calculator and break it out, you can kind of shoot me an email. I'll put the link right here. But for anyone who's kind of looking for any real estate help because the market's shifting, the interest rates are changing, there's crazy shenanigans going on in the East right now, and there's a whole bunch of things that are actually selling with tens of offers, but there's a whole bunch of properties that aren't, and you want to know kind of what your situation is and how to navigate this crazy market, you can book a call with me using the link right here. It's www.charlesand.com. Until next time, your move, your future. See ya. Now that you're done watching this one, how about this one? Oh, you know what? This one's good too. Ooh, this one's really good. You know what? Just watch them both.